The Battle of Stalingrad was one of the bloodiest battles in the history of warfare, with over 1.8 million casualties suffered by both the Soviet and German armies during its 5-month duration. Amidst the ruins of this besieged city, a legendary sniper duel unfolded, one that would go down in history as the deadliest of its kind. On the Soviet side was Vasily Zaitsev, a 26-year-old shepherd-turned-sniper from the Ural Mountains, who had already notched up an impressive 32 confirmed kills by the time he arrived in Stalingrad. Zaitsev's exceptional marksmanship skills had earned him a reputation as a ghostly figure, feared by the German soldiers who dubbed him Zaitsev the Sniper. As the Soviet counterattack gained momentum in the winter of 1942, Zaitsev found himself face-to-face with his most formidable opponent yet, Major Erwin Koenig, a seasoned German sniper and instructor, tasked with putting an end to the Soviet snipers' reign of terror. Little did they know, their encounter would become the stuff of legend, a testament to the skill, strategy, and sheer bravery of two men locked in a battle of wits and bullets. As the Soviet counterattack intensified, the Germans responded by deploying their finest snipers, hand-picked from the Eastern Front, to neutralize the growing threat posed by Zaitsev and his comrades. Major Erwin Koenig, a master sniper and instructor, was among those dispatched to Stalingrad, his expertise forged in the crucible of combat on the Eastern Front. Koenig's reputation as a skilled marksman and tactician had preceded him, earning him the respect of his peers and the fear of his enemies. With over 400 confirmed kills to his name, Koenig was the perfect candidate to take on the Soviet sniper menace, and his sights were set firmly on Zaitsev. The stage was thus set for a duel of unprecedented ferocity, pitting two masters of their craft against each other in a battle of strategy, cunning, and sheer marksmanship. As the snow-covered streets of Stalingrad became a hunting ground, the two snipers began to circle each other, each aware that the slightest mistake would prove fatal. As the duel between Zaitsev and Koenig commenced, the stakes were raised, not only for the two snipers but also for the soldiers on both sides of the conflict. The Soviet counterattack had reached a fever pitch, with troops pouring into the city, determined to break the German stranglehold on Stalingrad. Every moment counted, as the outcome of the battle hung precariously in the balance. In this high-pressure environment, the two snipers engaged in a game of cat and mouse, each trying to outmaneuver the other. Koenig, aware of Zaitsev's reputation, was determined to take him down quickly, before the Soviet sniper could claim any more German lives. Meanwhile, Zaitsev, fueled by his passion for the motherland, saw Koenig as a formidable foe who needed to be eliminated if the Soviet counterattack was to succeed. The stage was set for a battle of wits, with each sniper employing their skills, experience, and tactics to gain the upper hand. As the hours ticked by, the tension mounted, with both snipers waiting for that one moment of weakness that would prove decisive. As the duel raged on, Zaitsev and Koenig began to test each other's defenses, probing for weaknesses in their opponent's position. Koenig, an experienced sniper, employed a tactic known as flanking fire, where he would fire from an unexpected angle, hoping to catch Zaitsev off guard. Meanwhile, Zaitsev, aware of Koenig's strategy, countered by using his knowledge of the terrain to his advantage, moving swiftly and silently between the ruins of the city's buildings. The Soviet sniper also utilized his training in camouflage, blending seamlessly into the surroundings, making it almost impossible for Koenig to pinpoint his location. As the hours turned into days, the duel became a war of attrition, with both snipers waiting for the other to make a mistake. The soldiers on both sides were caught in the middle, with the Soviet troops desperate to break through the German lines, while the German soldiers fought to maintain their grip on the city. With every passing moment, the tension mounted, as the outcome of the duel hung precariously in the balance, threatening to tip the scales of the entire battle. As the days turned into a week, the duel between Zaitsev and Koenig reached its boiling point. The Soviet sniper, aware that his opponent was closing in, decided to employ a daring tactic. Zaitsev deliberately exposed himself, pretending to be a novice sniper, in an attempt to lure Koenig into a trap. The German sniper, convinced he had finally found his chance, took the bait and fired a precise shot at the seemingly careless Soviet. However, Zaitsev had anticipated this move and had already set up a decoy position, using a mock rifle and helmet to create the illusion of an exposed sniper. Koenig's shot hit the decoy, and in that split second, Zaitsev seized the opportunity to strike back. With lightning-fast reflexes, he turned his rifle towards the German sniper's position and fired a single, precise shot. The sound of the rifle echoed through the streets of Stalingrad, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still, as both snipers waited to see who would emerge victorious. As the dust settled, the German sniper's body slumped forward, his rifle slipping from his grasp. Koenig, the master marksman, had finally fallen victim to his own overconfidence. Zaitsev, still cautious, maintained his position, scanning the surroundings for any sign of additional threats. The Soviet sniper's heart pounded in his chest, a mix of adrenaline and relief coursing through his veins. He knew that the stakes were incredibly high, and the consequences of failure would have been catastrophic for the entire Soviet army. With Koenig's demise, the psychological grip the German sniper had held over the Soviet forces began to loosen, allowing Zaitsev's comrades to regroup and launch a renewed counterattack. As news of the duel's outcome spread, it bolstered the Soviet soldiers' morale, giving them a much-needed boost in the midst of the grueling battle. With the German sniper eliminated, the tide of the battle began to shift in favor of the Soviets, paving the way for a potential turning point in the war. As the news of Koenig's demise spread like wildfire through the Soviet ranks, a palpable sense of relief washed over the besieged city. The weight of the German sniper's unrelenting pressure had been lifted, allowing the Soviet forces to regroup and reassess their strategy. With the psychological burden of Koenig's marksmanship finally alleviated, the Soviet soldiers were able to regain their footing, their confidence bolstered by the knowledge that the enemy's most feared sniper was no more. Zaitsev, the unassuming Soviet marksman, had single-handedly shifted the balance of power on the battlefield, his unwavering determination and unshakable focus proving to be the decisive factors in the duel. As the Soviet counterattack gained momentum, the German forces began to waver, their grip on the city slowly beginning to slip. The stakes had been incredibly high, but Zaitsev's precision and skill had ultimately proved to be the difference-maker, paving the way for a potential turning point in the war. With the tide of the battle now in their favor, the Soviet forces pressed their advantage, determined to capitalize on the momentum gained from Zaitsev's remarkable achievement. As the Soviet forces continued to push forward, their advance marked a significant shift in the war's trajectory. The duel between Zaitsev and Koenig had served as a catalyst, illustrating the profound impact that individual skill and determination can have on the outcome of a conflict. The stakes for the soldiers on both sides had been incredibly high, their lives hanging precariously in the balance as the two snipers engaged in their deadly game of cat and mouse.